So the World Health Organization has just put out a publication on their website declaring a new mental disorder that they are calling gaming disorder. And from what I have read, which, by the way, is not much whatsoever, there's not much on this that they put out at all. It is a blatant attempt to suppress the uprise of video game culture, video game and internet culture that's starting to arise, with the rise of esports, with the rise of YouTubers and Twitch streamers starting to become mainstream, especially with Fortnite. You got people like Ninja, you got esports events like Turner, you got their E-League on TV, so it's becoming more and more mainstream, and you see a lot of the older generations really don't like this. I think everybody should be outside, running around, throwing a football, being out in the woods, hiking, climbing, doing whatever it is that's outside and not in the house. So we're going to get into that just a little bit. So the WHO currently defines this quote-unquote gaming disorder as per the 11th revision of the International Classification of Diseases, ICD-11. That is just pretty much an international database that is a universal classification of mental disorders and diseases. It basically defines them all so that it's not up to interpretation. These are the definitions, and this is the classifications of what you can be diagnosed with, and this is what they have to be diagnosed with this disorder or this disease. So ICD-11 as a pattern of gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, characterized by impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming over other activities to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. So basically what they're saying is that if you prioritize gaming over activities or other interests, you must be mentally ill. It is saying there are some consequences. I'll give them that they do say negative consequences, but they don't define what those negative consequences are. A negative consequence could be you may have a little bit of issues with your vision from looking at a monitor too long. And by the way, that you shouldn't worry about that too much. Newer monitors have good filters with that. Now, if you're staring at it for 20 hours a day, or 14 hours a day, you're going to have some issues there. But, negative side effects can be anything from that. You could, carpal tunnel to slipping grades from a student who may be playing a lot of video games and they're prioritizing that. But anything that falls under that, they're saying, no, you're mentally ill. You have a mental disorder. So if I'm a big fan of mountain biking and I prioritize it over other activities, so if I'm going to the mountain all the time, I'm riding, I'm doing all that, I'm giving that priority over my other activities. I'm just enjoying my hobby. I'm just having fun. But God forbid I prioritize gaming. Better not do that, because all of a sudden I just went from enjoying my hobby and having fun doing my favorite activity to being freaking mentally ill, to having a mental disorder. So you can see where these lines are very blurred and where you can define whether or not they're just in a hobby or whether or not they're, mentally, disturbed. It's really concerning that they'd put this out. And by the way, attached to this article, there's no clinical studies that can easily be viewed with the research by a qualified group of individuals or anybody in this case. There was no research attached to this at all. This is just them putting out this very short, pretty much memo saying, hey, this is a mental disorder, by the way, and it can be diagnosed. Which is absolutely ridiculous. If you're going to put out something claiming there's a new mental disorder, you better have research. You better have clinical backup to these claims, because at this point, you could be identifying somebody who is on the record perfectly healthy to now having this disorder, this mental disorder, that could have some negative consequences if that is produced on their record. I'd love to dig into this and analyze in detail all the research and everything they have, but it's just there's no research. There's nothing to analyze here. The article is about a third their definition of this so-called mental disorder. It's a third warning at the end of how to identify this, again, quote unquote disorder, mental disorder, and there's a warning in there, basically that says don't spend a lot of time gaming, and then there's some stuff about ICD, which is not relevant to the disorder itself. It's just saying, oh yeah, this is what ICD is. Basically, it's like I said, an encyclopedia of diseases, what you need to qualify to be diagnosed, and so on and so forth. So the ICD section, it can be thrown out right now. There's no, it just says what it is for those who do not know what the ICD is or want to look into it. It's standard. It has nothing to do with what they're calling this disorder. The rest of it is either saying don't play video games a lot, and I can read you the warning at the end. So studies suggest, which they haven't cited whatsoever. There are no studies whatsoever cited, nothing. So their studies that they did not cite or link suggest that gaming disorder affects only a small portion of people who engage in digital or video gaming activities. So at least they say that is a small number, which it should be. Which, yes, you are going to have some people who are addicted to video games, but that is a whole different. That's not what they're saying here. Who engage in digital or video gaming activities. However, people who partake in gaming should be alert of the amount of time they spend on gaming activities, particularly when it is to the exclusion of other daily activities, as well as to any changes in their physical or psychological health and social functioning that could be attributed to their pattern of gaming behavior. So again, exclusion of other daily activities. So you're saying if you like gaming, you really like gaming, you like to prioritize, you like to follow it. You can't do that. Gaming's you can't enjoy and follow that hobby. Any other hobby, go ahead. You wanna go hike for hours. You wanna go play football, golf, lacrosse, all that fun stuff. No, yeah, you're all perfect. Go ahead and do that. But you want to play video games? Oh no, you can't. That's gonna be a mental disorder. You're gonna be mentally ill if you do that. No, yeah, that's not allowed. But again, any other hobby? No, that's fine. You prioritize that. That's perfectly okay. Now, the end of this, I do have to give them credit. They do say, they do put in one sentence of this, by the way. One sentence. They mentioned that if it affects your physical or psychological health or social functioning, that could be attributed to their pattern of game behavior. So that part I completely agree with. If you are playing and gaming to the point where you are having issues with your physical or psychological health or your social functions, if you're gaining lots of weight, if you're having lots of physical issues like that, or if you're having psychological issues, I don't know what would exactly rise off the top of my head, or social functioning, if you're spending too much time, especially younger children, you are going to have some issues developing social skills. Now, is that solely how you define this disorder? No. They're just saying, oh yeah, that could be a contributing factor, but that doesn't have to be there. If you're playing a lot of video games, that could literally be the only classification according to this article, which is a massive issue. And, you can see how it just looks like the WHO, which, by the way, is supposed to be a standard in identifying and assisting with the diagnosis of mental disorders. It seems that this is just them trying to push an agenda, which is seriously concerning, especially when that's pretty much the standard, where every psychologist and clinical physician who's going to be looking at this stuff, and by the way, I am in no means a qualified psychologist, so if I'm missing something, please let me know, but it seems like they're pushing an agenda. This is now in the records and can be diagnosed. So if a doctor wanted to say that somebody had this, And, basically all they have to do is, do you play lots of video games? Yes. Are you doing more other hobbies? Yes. Well, congratulations, you're mentally ill. That's concerning. That seriously concerns me that is a thing where that can be diagnosed that easily. And when in reality, it's just somebody enjoying a hobby. The WHO, in my opinion, just lost massive credibility by publishing this. This would classify pretty much every gaming YouTuber, every streamer, esports players who live in houses and practice together. They're prioritizing that over pretty much everything in their life because they're good at it. And it's something they're really good at and they enjoy. Even hobbyists and individuals such as myself could be classified under this quote-unquote disorder that they just put out. It seems just morally wrong, in my opinion, to label somebody as a disorder when in reality they're just enjoying what they love. I don't know. It's a seriously concern, and again, I'd love to dig deep into this, but it's literally 2 or 3 paragraphs with no cited information. It's just nothing. I don't know where to go for this. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. What you guys think of this disorder. I would love to go more into detail. If you are interested in reading up on what the WHO has put out about gaming disorder, be sure to check out the link to WHO in the description below. You'll be able to read through their memo as well. Other than that, guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. I know I don't upload much, but I do upload when I can, whenever I have some topics to talk about, to go over. Occasionally put up a video or a Twitch VOD. Speaking of Twitch, though, I am on there much more than YouTube. It's twitch.tv/Critter. You can check me out there. All my social media is there. If you are interested, though, Critter TV on Twitter, and it will be the same across all platforms. For the most part, if it's not that, it's just straight up Critter. Thank you guys for watching. Please let me know what you think of this topic and about this new quote-unquote gaming disorder that the World Health Organization put out. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tweet at me, comment on the YouTube, do whatever you want. And I will see you guys in the next video I make, whatever it may be.